So I've had the GPR H1000 for about a week and a half. It is down to 1 bar of battery, and I've done about 5 workouts with it. And in the unboxing video, I got a comment from Pope Kosh who said, I feel like you missed a really important point about the heart rate monitor being inaccurate. Most of the problems you pointed out really wouldn't bother me at all. Maybe you could test that out to see if it works better on someone with a larger wrist as a redeeming factor for the watch. And I didn't know what Pope Kosh was talking about because this was the unboxing video, meaning it had just come out. Like I pre-ordered the Rangeman, and I didn't know how Pope Kosh could make this accusation that the heart rate monitor was inaccurate. And I guess Chase the Summit, compared it to his other heart rate monitors and found that it was like reading higher. Okay, listen, we have to do more tests. Okay. The GPD H2000, which is G-Shock's fitness watch, was accurate enough for me, okay? And so the new Rangeman, it's like the similar module. So we're going to test it, and maybe it has to do with wrist size dynamic. But stay tuned for those tests, okay? We're going to keep on testing. Z-Man says, if you had to pick one Casio watch to wear for 1 year only, what Casio watch would you pick that never comes off your wrist for 1 year? That would be the Mudman GW 9500. K Pace wrote on my on the short that we made about the viewing angle for the new Rangeman. He said, "Pity that display wasn't in the new Mudman. I don't like this Rangeman. It needs to recharge, and if I'm in the Scottish Highlands lost, I can't charge it." Yeah, I know. There's that old proverb, the Scottish Highlands, there's not enough, not enough trees to hang a man, not enough the stones to bury him or something, not enough charging ports to charge your Rangeman. How does that proverb go? I can't remember, but that's a good point. That about the screen, the MIP screen really belongs in a simpler watch like the Mudman. That's, I think, everybody's dream Casio would be the basic Mudman style watch with an MIP display. And we'll see if G-Shock makes our dreams come true. Freddy Krueger just saw someone throw a GBD H2000 out a 3-story window and it broke. Does this survive a throw out a 3-story window? Somehow I don't think we're going to find out. Listen, when I tough test the G-Shocks, I keep them on the wrist. It's all you think my tests are ridiculous. This is stuff that I'm exposed to, right? So throwing it out of a 3-story window, I'm not going to jump out of a 3-story window. And I'll try and find that video that he's talking about. But my impression of the GBD H2000 was that it wasn't as tough as some other G-Shocks. The Mudman seemed a lot tougher than the GBD H2000, but I believe that G-Shock made some compromises on the toughness to make it a better fitness watch. And that's part of the reason why I didn't wear the GBD H2000 to work. But throwing it out the window, I mean, I saw someone run over a G-Shock with a tank. Of course it's going to break. I saw someone put a G-Shock in one of those hydraulic presses. Those kind of tough tests are kind of ridiculous. I prefer the tough tests that are in line of what your body is going to experience, because the G-Shock's already built to very high engineering specifications. Human first. You are probably the only person on the planet to test out a $500 watch with diesel oil. Respect. Yeah, this is the video where I ran dirty dyed diesel from a diesel filter all over the watch. And I got a question. Where are the Garmin bros? Garmin bros are always like chiming in on these G-Shock videos, trying to tell us how much better their Garmin is than our G-Shock. I challenge anyone wearing a Garmin. Go ahead, deliberately dunk it in diesel. Will you do that? David Lifts Heavy Circles wrote, "I so happy I ran across this video in my suggestions. I was about to pay for the Mudman purely for the large numbers because I don't particularly care for the other features aside from stopwatch and alarms. Thank you for saving me hundreds of dollars. Listen, David, you're welcome. The AE 1500, which is the watch he's referring to, big, huge numbers. They're actually easier to read than the Mudman on top of everything else. So not only did I save you money, but it's actually, the AE 1500 is actually easier to read. And so David, he's a like a weightlifter, a power lifter. You might want to look at the GBDH 2000, okay? And if you're powerlifting, you have big arms. The GBDH 2000 has a very as a bigger, more comfortable band. Well, it's not bigger than the AE 1500, but it has a big band, and it's more comfortable than the AE 1500. So you can hike it up your wrist when you're lifting weights, and the numbers on that screen are very big, but it costs a lot more. And so David lifts heavy circles, is probably trying to save money. And so the AE 1500, $22. It's a watch that I recommend to anybody because it's fantastic. Pile 213, talking about the Rangeman, says this is the Mudman version of the H2000. That's a really keen observation. And yeah, it's like I used to wear the Mudman to work and the GBH 2000 to the gym. The Rangeman, the GPR H1000, can do both. Robert says, do nitrogen next. He wants to see the nitrogen, a nitrogen challenge. Liquid nitrogen, of course, is what he's referring to. And I did that to the Mudman. You guys can watch that video. If I find a leaky hose, maybe with some liquid nitrogen dripping out, I will put the new Rangeman under that liquid nitrogen. And so stay tuned for that test. I think that it's a valid test. If you have your cryogenic gloves, sometimes some nitrogen can splash over them. So it's a reasonable test to see whether your watch can handle some cryogenic fluid splashing on it. Keiki Garcia says, I am cringing to death. LOL. Thanks so much for the video and for testing to the extreme those watches so we can know about real life tests. Best regards from a Venezuelan reviewer in Panama. Well, it's great to hear a Venezuelan in Panama. I appreciate the comment, Mr. Garcia. And yeah, we're doing practical tests. We're not just chucking them out a window or chucking them out a helicopter. This is the type of stuff that you would purchase a beater watch for. That, the diesel, the oil, the whole shebang. Brian the 99th says, yo, how is solar charging on these? And Brian the 99th, some of you may remember him. He's the one who clued me into getting the GBH 2000 display the heart rate on the customized screen. And so I guess he's a GBH 2000 owner. I've only had it for a week and a half, like I said at the beginning. The Rangeman solar charging, the whole battery system seems to be a little bit better. Okay, obviously we need a lot more tests to determine how much better the Rangeman's battery life is compared to the GBDH 2000. But so I got it on Wednesday and it was at 5 bars. It showed 5 bars, and now on Sunday, so a whole week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So what is that, 12 days? And we're down to 1 bar. It hasn't gotten to low yet. So I have not observed battery performance and solar charging that's that much better than the GBDH 2000. But we need a better sample size, and we need other commenters to chime in with their experience, because that's how we put together a good, robust data set. Gaming Over Galaxy. Bro casually sprayed a $500 watch. You may not have a big audience, but I recently joined and I love the content. Like you said, I'm the good old-fashioned blue-collar guy. Who else do you trust to test these watches? I do want more of other reviews, like the Right in the Rain pens and stuff. Well, Gaming Over Galaxy, welcome aboard. Yes, this was the video where I sprayed the new Rangeman with PB Blaster. And so as far as the other reviews, so I got some Lendlezer flashlights that I'm reviewing, and I have the W1R. I've only had that for a few days, and I love that thing. So stay tuned for that review. In the Right in the Rain pens, I'm still rocking the Metal Readiness pen, so I'll do like a follow-up review on that one because there's a lot of good things to say about that pen, and I'll leave some links below if you're interested in either of those items. But yeah, the Right in the Rain pens, we'll test them. You know, it doesn't rain a lot around here, so we may have to simulate rain by having, you know, someone blast me with, you know, like super soakers or water balloons or whatever, so stay tuned for that. Russell says, this was the best smelling watch review I've ever seen. And that's his comment to the PB Blaster test. Yeah, Russ, that's my brother, by the way. So, PB Blaster, like the smell, like I lost my sense of smell, but I can still kind of smell PB Blaster. And I remember how it used to smell before my smell like went away. And yeah, I love the smell too. It makes me hungry. Funny story. It reminds me of pizza. Right? But not just any pizza, like the Greek style pizza that they have in Massachusetts, where I'm from, like Pembroke House of Pizza, which we nicknamed Pembroke House of Greasa, like the grease drips off the pizza and down your arm. It looks like PB Blaster. And the pizza grease kind of smells like PB Blaster. I'm talking about PB Blaster now. It's making me hungry. Shane Reed said, keep pumping out these shorts so I don't have to read the manual. GPS next, cheer. All right, so this is when I was showing the almanac feature of the new Rangeman, and yeah, I'll pump out some more shorts. There's some interesting stuff on this Rangeman, like a tide graph. So I'll read the manual, so you guys don't have to. I know how a lot of you guys hate the manual. Just watch my videos, watch my shorts, and that's how you'll learn how to use these watches. Mass Effect wants to know. Blue rag merch incoming. Mass Effect. Genius time. That is a great idea. Because at work we have like a giant boxes of blue rags. And if I could bring in a whole bunch of mailers to work and like just, you know, fill orders, like one blue rag per bag, sell them. Yeah, that's a great money making idea. Hi, Jim. Are the wings on the G-Shock Sports Watch more comfortable than the new Rangeman? Sports Watch wings are also hard plastic, so they have some give to them. Great channel. Thank you, Tim. Well, Tim, thanks for the comment. And the wings on the new Rangeman are soft. It's soft plastic. The band is very pliable, and the wing isn't even really that big. The wing doesn't like isn't as wing is like. As thick or as big as other watches, especially not the Mudman. And the Mudman has hard plastic wings. The new Rangeman has soft, pliable wings. And if you're looking for a fitness watch that is very comfortable in terms of the wings and the whole strap, the GBDH 2000 is the way to go. Okay, it's significantly more comfortable than the Rangeman. Not to say the Rangeman is uncomfortable, but I made a bunch of videos where I really extol the virtues of the wing system on the GBDH 2000, and I think the one on the wing system on the Rangeman is pretty good too. So I'll make some more in-depth videos about the fit and comfort of the Rangeman, specifically pertaining to that, because that to me is a very important attribute of a watch. David Sinclair says, this video reminds me of another difference between the new Rangeman and the GBDH 2000. When you hit any button on the new Rangeman, the light comes on. On the GBDH 2000, the light only comes on if you hit the light button. Hitting other buttons will not turn on the light. I prefer the Rangeman setup where any button press lights it up. Guys, I need some help here because my GBDH 2000 did the same thing as the Rangeman. You press any button, the light comes on. This only happens in the dark. Like it senses whether you're in the dark or not. So, and as far as I know, there's no setting. Like I'm pretty sure my GBDH 2000 did that coming out of the box, just like the Rangeman. And by the way, that whole feature of the light coming on with every button press, I think that's a great feature. And it stays on too when you press other buttons. And a lot of the old G-Shocks, in fact, all the old G-Shocks, the light button will not stay on when you press another button. So if any of you guys have an answer as to what, for David Sinclair, as to why his it doesn't have the auto illuminate on his GBDH 2000, if you have the answer for that, let us know so we can point him in the right direction. But I'm pretty sure that both of my watches came out of the box with that auto illuminate function on. Hulk says the search button has become crunchy. Yes, and I made a short video where I like to press the buttons and there was a lot of noise because I guess a lot of junk got behind the buttons. And if you have a watch that has a crunchy button, that's the one you press when it's crunch time. Bernard Baroga says, to be honest, I don't really care much about the watch itself, but the blogger, because he's been exposing himself to many different chemicals that can cause cancer. I hope not, but it can happen. And this is a video where I blasted my wrist with PB Blaster. These are chemicals that, I'm exposed to every day. I mean, like, obviously I don't like douse my wrist and my watch with PB Blaster, but we use PB Blaster and it splashes and, we breathe in the fumes. And as far as it causing cancer, I mean, I think it's crazy. Like, a lot of people thought like I was off base by talking about how I want to limit my exposure to Bluetooth, because a lot of like the hive mind and Reddit refuses to even acknowledge the idea that Bluetooth radiation could be detrimental to your health, right? But a lot of people, they don't have that problem making that accusation about PB Blaster, and Mr. Baroga, I appreciate you looking out for me. Not sure says, just make sure you don't go camping and use off bug repellent. For some reason, Casio doesn't think people might use such products in the outdoors, outdoors type of watches and all. And I had not heard of off causing problems with watches, but Cartoon Pete chimed in and said it happened to one of his G-Shocks. So that's a good tip, but that's also a challenge. So I'm going to have to test it with off. All right. I mean, off is something that you'd be spraying on your body, right? So we have to see what it does to the watch. Mechanico says, no, please, no more. I suffer when I see this brutal tests. Guys, it's all about the brutal tests. I mean, why would you, if you get a beater watch, this is a beater watch vlog. If you get a beater watch, you got to beat on it. Poison Off says, thanks, man. Now I'm a fan of the AE 1500. And this was in the WS 1700 first look video. Yeah, the AE 1500. I recommend that to anybody thinking about it. It's only $22, right? So if you really don't like it, you're only out $22. And it's a fantastic watch. Not nearly as tough as a G-Shock, but it's still pretty durable. All right, I think this guy's name was 123456, and he wrote, if I want all the smart options in good watch and a G-Shock, what is your suggestion? My wrist size is 6.5 inches. Well, if you want all of the smart options, the Rangeman is the way to go, because it is a G-Shock. It is tough. Like, I've been brutally testing it, and it has not had a problem yet. Okay, and it has all of the Bluetooth stuff, all of the connected stuff, and a GPS. If you're worried that it's too big for your wrist, my wife and my son, they tried it on, and each of them have wrists that are about a little over 6 inches, and it's big. Okay, it's a big watch, so it has a lot of wrist presence, but it fit. I don't think that it fit poorly on them, having a wrist size about 6.5 inches. Now, if you're really worried that it's too big, it won't work out, the DWH 5600 does not have a GPS, so it doesn't have that feature, but it has a lot of the smart options, and that one will definitely fit a 6.5 inch wrist. Well, it does have a protruding heart rate monitor, but size-wise, it's good. So, I hope that helps. Six Style says, just picked up the last Rangeman Japanese domestic model on Amazon yesterday. This new model is nice, but I wish the font on the Mudman was thicker and darker, plus there's a lot of unused space on the dial. All right, so you wrote that on the Mudman review, the GW 9500. Yeah, I know. They finally have big numbers on the Mudman, but they're not nearly as thick as they should be. They seem kind of thin. And in the Rangeman he's talking about is the yellow GW 9400, which the Japanese version has like a special band, the inside of which is also yellow, and it's carbon fiber reinforced. So that's a good one to get. I have my eye on it. We'll see if I pull the trigger. G-Man Talks says, bro, you're going to get cancer before that G-Shock fails. I really like the concept, but dadgum, son. Yeah. Does diesel cause cancer? I mean, I breathe in diesel fumes all day. I breathe in burnt up diesel vapors all day. And, I'm around diesel like every waking hour. When you think about it, I live in a truck. So that extra diesel splashing on my watch, I don't think it's gonna like make or break me getting cancer. Victor Eastwood, still not a Rangeman. All right, this is a hardline Rangeman guy who just will not accept the GPR H1000 being called a Rangeman. He's like the guardian of the Rangeman title, and he thinks that this watch is an imposter. He put this on the video where I was showing how amazing the viewing angle is on this new GPR H1000. He's like, everybody's like stoked about that viewing angle, and Victor Eastwood has to pop up and say, still not a Rangeman. Engleside says, has Casio ever updated the software on the watch wirelessly through the phone app? They need people like you to give the update suggestions. Yeah, they do update the software. You need the app, and you have to hold the phone and the watch close together, and it will do the update to the software. But there hasn't been major updates. Like, I haven't noticed any significant changes. But I think they may have added like an hourly chime, because people are mentioning they have the hourly chime on. And I don't remember there being an hourly chime before. But as far as my gripes, they have not addressed them. And I'm thinking about, consolidating all of the information about what they need to update, making that video, making a PDF, translating that PDF to Japanese, and that will be like the punch list on what they need to do to change this G-Shock operating system, which I'm calling G-Sauce, and it doesn't have to be like a total overhaul, but there's gripes that I have that they have to change. So the short answer is yes, they have pushed some updates via the software, on the Bluetooth app, but yeah, they it's so easy. What they need to fix is just watch my video. Philip Lahell says, and this is the video where I show how the metal keeper is actually a workplace hazard if you have a desk job, because it will eat up the desk. Philip Lahell says, this watch is not for office work for sure, but I sometimes wear a watch with full metal bracelet and no problem with my laptop or desk. The old GW 9400 Rangeman is also uses this metal keeper, and I have no issues with it, but maybe you can find a replacement. And, my metal keeper is really scratched up. So if it's scratched up, I think that, the other, whatever it's scratched against would show some damage too, because the keeper's metal. But Philip Lahell also brought up a good point that, if you have a smaller wrist, the keeper is further up the band, so it may not scratch up everything as much as I would encounter. That's a good point. That's a good point. And, something to think about on this watch. Kyle says, I went and bought a Casio AE 1500 today. Jim, you're right. It's a great Casio basic watch. Thanks again for all your reviews. Kyle has a robust watch collection now because he's just added the AE 1500 to it. And that's a good watch to have. It's just if you, I don't know, if you collect watches, you have just one watch, it's a good backup watch at least. It's a good watch just to buy. It has a 10-year battery. You can throw it, in your sock drawer in your dresser and just have it if you need it one day, just get an AE 1500. How hard is it? Kyle got one and he's happy. It's an amazing watch. The Fat Classic says, I love desk jobs and soy boys who live outside of Texas. Okay, who says this? Who says I love desk jobs? Someone explain that to me. How could you love a desk job? Now I get it. Some people, they have office jobs. It's a job, right? Nobody really loves work. You have to go there, to get money to pay the bills so you can survive. But to say I love desk jobs, that just fries my brain. Cause if you didn't have to work, I would a desk job, that would be the last thing I'd ever want to do. Right? You go outside, you get a job where you go outside and do stuff. Right? Who would say, oh yeah, I love desk jobs. That's nuts. Oh, I can't. I don't understand. And again, I know that a lot of you guys watching, you have white collar jobs. That's fine. I understand you have to make a living. I know that someone has to do it. But who says I love desk jobs? Imagine sitting at a desk all day. Wow. All right, John RB. Which one do you prefer now that the GPR has been on your wrist for a week? And before I can even answer that, a Garmin bro jumps in. Bart Revenge says, Garmin Instinct 2X Tactical in this price range. The Garmin bros, they have to jump in to all of our G-Shock convos, right? They're just popping up. Hey, Garmin Instinct 2X Solar. Dadgum. All right. Well, anyways, to answer John RB's question, the GBDH 2000 as a fitness watch, I think is better. Now, and obviously the GPR H1000 is more durable. Okay. So that's kind of the breakdown I'm going with now. Termit says, okay, Jim, that's okay because it could be worse. I'm staying with my statement that the heart rate is just a waste of time, and that's not what a Rangeman should do. And he goes on to say that, griping about the battery and the battery life. And this is in a video where I kind of give an update to the accuracy of the heart rate and the battery life update, because that's what a lot of people want to know about. And again, I'm still testing those two aspects of the watch, so stay tuned as the results come in. But Termit is another one of those hardline, it ain't a Rangeman. This watch is not a Rangeman because of the heart rate monitor. And what I want you guys to understand is that what if you ignore the heart rate monitor? You can turn it off. So if you turn off the heart rate monitor, how long does will the watch last? It might be able to indefinitely charge if you're someone who's outside all the time, right? And the question is, does that change your view of this Rangeman? You just turn off the heart rate, and that's what we're going to look at. That's what I want to look at. That's why I got it. That's why I'm testing it. Okay. And I understand that, putting the heart rate on this watch will make it thicker. And yeah, I wish this Rangeman was thinner. I like the size of the Mudman, the GW9500. It's actually pretty thin for how tough it is. But yeah, so more tests. I guess what I'm saying is we're going to test it some more. And maybe some of you who are rejecting the Rangeman out of hand, maybe you'll find some redeeming qualities as we test it. Jermaine Smith says, good content. So after a week, it is down somewhere between 60 to 40%. Even if it's split down the middle at 50, that gives you 2 weeks of battery life. That's before connecting it to Bluetooth. Maybe I'm missing something. I thought it would last a lot longer than that in smartwatch mode with only 4 activities. Were any other activities on with GPS? Okay, so I just reported back after wearing the Rangeman for 1 week. I just gave everybody an update to what I'm seeing on the battery life, and it seemed like it was better than the GBDH 2000, but there's a lot of variables because number one, the watch came from the factory showing 5 bars, but it wasn't on high. It was just on 5 bars. So it had 4 confirmed full bars. How much of that 5th bar of the battery had been used? I don't know. So we'll let it drain down and then I'll charge it all the way up to high and then we'll look again because it's supposed to have a better battery life than a GBDH 2000. And as I pointed out in that video, when you look at the solar panel, the solar panel looks different than the GBDH 2000. And I've not used the GPS that much on this new Rangeman. Francis C. Varga says, I lost only 2 battery bars on my GBDH 2000 since the last Saturday with no solar charging, heart rate always on, and notification on and hourly chime on. So I think that he's suggesting that this battery life on the new Rangeman is not that much better than the GBDH 2000. And again, we haven't really have a good sample size to definitively make that statement. Like in 1 week, the battery life seemed to be better. But like I said, there's a lot of variables, so stay tuned. Pile213 says, I turned off heart rate on my H2000 and battery is still on full bars after 2 weeks. Yeah, so I mean, that's a good point. And if the Rangeman has better battery life than the H2000, if you turn off all of the heart rate and turn off all the exercises, you're pretty much just using it with the same functionality as the GW9400. This new Rangeman might be able to keep it going with solar charging for a long time. Freddie Krueger says, plastic buckle, people complain. Metal buckle, people complain. And that's true. I had noticed that. And he wrote that comment when I was showing how that metal keeper will scratch everything up on your desk. And yeah, the Casio keeps on going back and forth on the metal keeper on the various G-Shocks, right? Like the GW9400 has a metal keeper. The GW9500 has a plastic keeper. Some of the Mudmasters have a plastic keepers, and then this new Rangeman has a metal keeper. And either way, some people are complaining, right? But I would break it down like this. Plastic keeper, good for real life use. Metal keeper, good for a display case. Paul Sochin fan says, hi Jim, that's the coolest looking watch. One of your audience said it's too heavy and returned it. Moreover, the weight makes it less stable on the wrist, so it affects the heart rate accuracy. Do you feel anything is not good or uncomfortable due to its weight? Also, how do you find the keeper? You said it's loose and may get a plastic one. Yeah, I know. I might change out the metal keeper because it's I don't like it, but that's down the road. But anyways, the question about it being heavy, my first impression of it was that it's really light for its size. I don't think it's heavy. I think it's bulkier than the GBDH 2000, but I don't think it's heavy at all. And I've done a few workouts with it. The first workout, I found that the heart rate was not being accurate. It seemed like it was off, like I explained in that video. But I crank down on the strap, so I make the strap really tight, and in the workout since then, it seemed to be more accurate. So it seems like you have to get that strap really tight to get a good reading. Okay. But I didn't think it was heavy. All right, Mr. Route says, just got my AE 1500, feeling good. Yeah, that's the boost you get from wearing the AE 1500. It's only $22, and it's a big, solid, easy to read watch. You would feel good. Poopy Doopy says, Garmin have flashlight. All right, another Garmin bro reminding us about the flashlight. Sprigg says, awesome watch, G-Shock of the year. Yeah, finally we have someone who's a fan of this new Rangeman. Thank you, Mr. Spurg. Mr. Danny Hello says, I avoid a watch that needs to be charged with a charger, so it's no for me. Not for me. Well, you need to charge it for the heart rate monitor and the GPS, okay? But you may be able to get away with solar charging for everything else. Stay tuned. We'll see. Voxo says, I may sound conservative, but a Rangeman is supposed to be your ultimate companion for the apocalypse, not the gym. Missed opportunity. Love my 9400. And yeah, I cannot blame a guy for saying that he loves his 9400 and wants to stick with it. Casio G-Shock has a huge problem with a 9400. They made it too good that someone like Voxo gets the 9400. He doesn't need another watch, right? He's already got the best watch there is. And yeah, you know, it would be funny, like in the middle of like an apocalyptic ordeal, like a horrific like scenario of like locusts and meteor strikes and earthquakes. Like you're in the apocalypse, and like the watch is beeping, like, you know, oh, you're not in your workout target now. You've exceeded your expected heart rate for now. You're burning too many calories. You need to rest. Our sleep tracker says that you need to rest, and you're like fleeing for your life. Dante McClalla says, thanks for your review and feedback. Just 2 questions. Any estimate of time with GPS on during the week, as it affects battery more than the heart rate? And what about heart rate accuracy for activities other than gym, which I understand is not that great? Yeah, I got to take it running. I got to take it biking to answer those questions. Got to take it swimming. That's the only way to find out. And the GPS does take, I've only synced it up by GPS. I haven't done any workouts that use a GPS yet. So to answer your question, we're going to have to do more research. P. Parmar says, is it worth getting the new Rangeman as I have the GBDH 2000? Can you help me, please? No. If you have the GBDH 2000, you're good. Paul says, I like the analog watch on the 1700. It looks like you have a radar screen. And this is the WS 1700, an amazing new drop from Casio. Some people are more excited about it than the Rangeman, and it is an El Cheapo Casio. And it has a cool looking like subdial that's like an analog style watch on the watch. And he's saying it looks like the radar, and that's true. It is really cool looking. And looking like a radar, you know, be careful when eating toast that you don't get the radar jammed. That's a Spaceballs reference. Devilish Stoner says, how do you like this one compared to the new Mudman? And he's referring to the Rangeman. Mudman's my favorite. Okay, so I like the Mudman. That's my go-to watch. But if you want a watch that has, it's like way more features, the Rangeman has way more features. Me, I'm a simple guy. I don't need all those features. I just want toughness, and that's the Mudman. Oh, I guess that's the last one. All right, guys, I'm Jim Kincaid. Thanks for watching.